Most people think that the 144,000 are just pure worshipers in the last days. But what if there's something far more dangerous? What if they're not only singers, but soldiers? Not just blameless, but armed for a cosmic war that began before Noah's flood. A war that started with the Watchers. A war that birthed the Nephilim. A war Jesus himself came to undo. And Revelation tells us the 144,000 are sealed, not just to survive, but to finish that ancient conflict. Today I'm connecting Genesis 6, Enoch, Revelation, and modern scholarship to reveal the 144,000's true end-time mission. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The number 144,000 in Revelation 7 shows us a symbolic military census. 12,000 from each tribe. This goes back to the Old Testament's organization of Israel's army. But this is not simply a matter of counting warriors. These numbers are actually deeply connected to the priestly and covenantal functions of God's people. In Numbers 1, 2 through 3, the census is only linked to those who are able to go out to war. This was preparation for God's holy army. But Israel's warfare in the Hebrew scriptures was never only about the military. It was spiritual and covenantal. God's warriors went into battle as God's covenant people, often under the leadership or presence of priests. Priests in ancient Israel had amazing and unique roles in warfare. For example, Phinehas the priest in Numbers 25, 7 through 8 was zealous and upheld God's holiness even during military conflict, while the Levites served as camp guardians and spiritual leaders who sanctified the army in Numbers 1. In Judges 20:18, the Israelites inquired of the Lord through the priest Eleazar before a battle, showing that priestly intercession was essential in war. And also, amazingly, the priests could carry the Ark of the Covenant into battle, symbolizing God's presence and their victory. When the Ark was brought in front of the lines, just like in Jericho in Joshua chapter 6, this signified that the army fought not by human might alone, but under God's divine command and protection. Hidden in Revelation, the 144,000 appear as a priestly remnant, sealed and undefiled, giving them a consecrated status similar to that of ancient priests. But they're also numbered like soldiers prepared for war. They have a dual identity that aligns with the Bible, where priesthood includes both purity and military responsibility. These priestly warriors are God's agents of warfare, and they usher in his presence and execute God's judgment. 144,000 are actually portrayed in Scripture as active participants in God's cosmic battle against the forces unleashed by the rebellion of the Watchers. Their sealing is not just protection, it's also empowerment to help them carry out God's judgment and confronting demonic powers. To understand this next part, you have to go way back to Genesis 6, 1 through 4. It describes the sons of God, who were fallen angels, descending to earth and taking human wives. Their offspring, the Nephilim, giants, hybrid beings who corrupted God's creation. This was an ancient act of rebellion that polluted the human bloodline and brought about the flood. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. In the book of 1 Enoch, the prophet is taken up to heaven and told to deliver a message of doom to the fallen angels, called Watchers. And he's actually shown their punishment, the imprisonment of their spirits, and the ongoing influence of their offspring. As a matter of fact, in 1 Enoch 10:9, it says that the Nephilim would continue to afflict humanity, not just physically, but spiritually, until the day of judgment. And guess what? That day doesn't come until Revelation. The 144,000 are raised to confront this ancient rebellion. This is why Revelation says that no lie was found in their mouths, and that they follow the Lamb wherever he goes. They are blameless. This is not just morality, it's warfare purity. They can confront the powers of darkness because there's nothing in them that darkness can claim. The legacy of the Watchers was corruption. The legacy of the 144,000 is consecration. The Watchers spread defilement. The 144,000 carry holiness. The Watchers birth giants. The 144,000 birth deliverance. They are God's answer to one of the oldest rebellions in human history. Now, there was an ancient Jewish sect at Qumran who preserved the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they had a vivid understanding of cosmic war that would unfold in the last days. And among their writings is something called the War Scroll, or 1QM. In it, it describes a divinely ordained battle between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. So this text is very detailed. It outlines a military organization. It talks about priestly roles and spiritual discipline that's required for this holy war. For example, in 1QM 136, it says, "He will raise up for them a king who will lead them in battle and govern them, a king who will bring them victory over the sons of darkness." So this actually shows a fusion of both priestly purity and military readiness. This is a holy remnant set apart for spiritual warfare in the last days. This group at Qumran saw themselves as well as part of this sons of light, preparing for the final showdown against evil forces, much like the 144,000 described in Revelation. In Jewish tradition, there's always a remnant, those who won't bow down to Baal. Elijah, for example, thought he was alone, but God said to him, "I have 7,000 who have not bowed the knee." In Revelation, that number multiplies, 12,000 from each tribe, 144,000 total, the complete priesthood. They're sealed like the high priest. They sing a new song like the Levites. They're undefiled like Nazarites. But most importantly, they follow Jesus wherever he goes, even into war. But why? Because the final battle isn't just political, it's spiritual. And it's not just about the Antichrist. It's about the return of the Watcher's offspring in deception, false signs, and even genetic corruption. The 144,000 aren't afraid. They're anointed for end-time deliverance. So, we've unpacked how the 144,000 are set apart, how they wage war against forces that are unleashed from the sin of the Watchers, and how they walk in radical purity and in authority. But the next question is, are you living like this? Are you living like one of them? Because the 144,000 aren't superheroes. They're not aliens. They're ordinary people who chose to live on fire for God. Lives that are consecrated to Jesus. Hebrews 12:14 says, "Without holiness, no one will see the Lord." The 144,000 are described as blameless, undefiled, and without deceit. This is more than just morality. It's warfare purity. It's a lifestyle that makes them usable by God in a cosmic showdown. This is not legalism. It's priestly consecration. It's warrior training. 2 Timothy 2:21 says, "If anyone cleanses himself from what is dishonorable, he'll be a vessel for honorable use, set apart as holy." So did you catch that? Anyone. God is using people today, still calling men and women to live radically set apart, and still marking those who hunger for purity and carry fire in their spirits. Holiness isn't about being perfect. It's about being possessed by God. For more end-time revelation, watch these videos next, and I'll see you there.